Chad 327 right here with Troy number 6, and I ride it very rarely. Anyway, this is when I did the lift kit for the engine. I like that concept. It makes it twice as fast because you're using the deck pulley instead of the drive pulley. But I want to redo it with some steel pipe that I can weld some bracing in between. Before we do that, I've got my homemade boat motor there. I fired it off. It ran good, but there's something wrong internally with this John Deere engine. It could be something to do with the governor. I don't know. The plan is to flip it over, take the governor crud out, put it back together, see how it runs. But I want to do a speed test before all that. So I'm going to pop this engine off, the 4 bolts, unhook the gas line, the throttle cable, any electrical, and then pop it on here. When you put it on here, it's 4 bolts. Hook the hot wire here. I've got a gas can that hooks to it. And I'm thinking maybe speed test in the morning because today looks like a storm just blew up. I don't even know if I can work on Troy. Maybe it'll blow by. This is Florida. It might be sunny in 5 minutes. Anyway, the plan is to get this engine running, go do a speed test. And my apologies, when I made this video, I showed it running, but I didn't do a speed test. I was so anxious to get the video out. So the good news is I've already got the belt guard off, the pulleys are out, I've got 2 of these bolts out. But the storm is getting closer, it's starting to sprinkle. Florida is the lightning capital, and I don't want to be one of those statistics. So I'm going to shut it down, and we'll be back as soon as the storm passes. Oh, and by the way, I've already got the boat hooked up to the car. We did a speed run yesterday with a 5-horse Mercury. It did about 12 if you're going with the current. Average is about 11 miles an hour. Anyway, I got it hooked up, pull that one off, put the other one on, hit the river. So the storm just blew by. There was nothing to it. It sprinkled a little bit, and problem is it's already 5 o'clock and the engine's still in the mower. Anyway, I've got all the wires unhooked. There's a plug and 1 nut. Over here, I've got the gas line off. That's here. I've got the throttle off. I've got the impact wrench, and there's 2 bolts to pull out. This will be quick and easy. And I've already got a stool to set it down on. Then we'll push this back the boat in here. So now the Mercury has been removed. I've got the Gale foot here. I'm going to put it on next. I've got me a 5/8 socket ready to put in these 4 bolts. I've got my Allen wrenches for the Lovejoy. This puts the nut on the solenoid. Let's do this step by step. Foot first. So if this thing was all put together, I wouldn't be able to lift it. But separately, this then that, I can lift it. Right about there, I've got to line everything up. I'm going to put the Lovejoy on first. Let me zoom you in. And now the last step before we find battery and gas, this is the Troy bit exhaust. Open, that'd be fun for a few minutes. Then it's gonna get old. So I'm gonna put the John Deere exhaust on. It goes down into the muffler. And yes, there's a gasket. Bolts on, that should keep us a little bit quieter. And eventually we might run it down into the water. That would be even quieter. I need a chrome valve cover, that's what everybody sees when they're behind you in traffic. Okay. Gas and battery, I gotta go find them. Hang on. I've got the battery hooked up and the gas line is hooked up. Need to pump it up and hot wire it. The battery is now hooked up, the gas is pumped up. Let's jump out the solenoid and see what happens. So was just thinking out loud, I might go change out the cowling for the John Deere cowling. It's got a fuel pump on it, and we just ran out of gas. The gas is way lower than the carburetor. And we need to get a throttle hooked up. We need to get a key switch, and I need a tiller handle. I might weld one of those on tonight. Kind of important for steering. The John Deere cowling is now on. The fuel pump is on. Had to put in a different dipstick to run the fuel pump. Still no kill switch, no key switch, no tiller handle, and no, what was the other thing we needed? I can't remember. Oh, throttle. I do want to start it up again for you. So here on the boat motor, I've got the throttle fixed up. It's ready to go. This came off the parts mower. I drilled a hole here, put 2 zip ties, one of them John Deere green. That's nice. I got a self-tapping screw here, keep it going this way. I had to grind a little slot there for it to go under, and it fit just right in this corner. Most importantly, it works. Up next on the key switch, I've got the switch. I needed to start the engine, and I need to shut the engine off. I don't need any kind of blade safety switches. I don't need any neutral safety switches. I don't need, when you get up off the seat, the mower stops. So we got to narrow down some of these wires to make that work. And my tiller handle, I got to get it welded on. I think I'm going to use this piece of angle iron, paint it green, have it something like that. Don't know yet. 2 things left and we're done. River's flooded, but it is smooth. Good for speed runs. All right, first run, here we go. So we're floating down the river. The current is doing about 2 miles an hour. We just hit 12, I think was the high speed going with the current. I'm going against the current. Super flooded conditions. The bridge is low right now. The water is high. That's how fast it's flowing right there. That's usually way up, like 12 feet out of the water. Or more. So we hit 12 miles an hour. what was it? Oh, 12 going against the current, 16 going with the current. I'm gonna say about 14 miles an hour. And I got a life check on it. It's scary fast. It don't idle right, so we gotta get the idling right, and it steers hard. Other than that. So I'm back from the river. I'm right here with my Oppie. One thing I learned from the John Deere boat motor, the governor's still hooked up. When you put it in gear, it thinks you're in heavy grass, it gives it more gas. I want to be the one in control of how much gas it gets. Here on the Oppie, the governor's been unhooked. Throttle comes straight to the carburetor. I can idle all the way down, there's no surging. All the way up, whatever I want to do. So on the John Deere, we got to kick the governor out of office, and we got to get back to the river and do another speed run. So I want to pull this engine off, make an adapter, put a Briggs on it. I've got a John Deere with a Briggs ready to go on it. There is the engine with the crankshaft torn out of it. Crankshaft is up here on the drive shaft. We'll cut it right about here. Somehow put a Lovejoy in there. Start putting it all back together. And I'll show you the engine I'm thinking about using. 19.5 Briggs & Stratton single cylinder. The engine is now on my chair. I have installed the solenoid. I got to find a key switch. I'll probably use this throttle. And what I'm thinking is cut straight across here, unbolt it there, make a cut back there. Use this to bolt the engine to the foot. And right now I'm marking to drill 2 more holes. That's this one and one on the other side. Up next we're going to build the adapter, turn the drive shaft into a Lovejoy. It's a 1-inch shaft, it's a 1-inch hole. I'm going to cut it off, weld it together. Got this adapter halfway welded up. I'm going to flip it over, we'll weld around one time. We'll call it done. This is what it looks like now. I'm going to clean it up, then we'll go do a test fit. Now I'm going to drill the holes in this bottom plate. I've already got them marked. So I've got the motor mount all welded together now. So I just hit the Lovejoy and the motor mount with some self-etching primer. Just hit the motor mount with some John Deere green. The motor mount is now in place. I got all the bolts in, all the bolts are tight. The shifter is in. Forward, reverse. Okay, I've got the engine sitting in place.